Hi friends and welcome back to my channel and welcome to my August TBR. When planning August TBR, I will honestly admit that I sort of felt a bit lost, or like I didn't really have a direction. I have the buzzwordathon that we would talk about, but I was sort of like, oh, I don't have anything in particular going on in August. I don't have a travel where I want a travel TBR. There's no like specific event I'm trying to read for. So I was like, oh, perhaps I should try and find like a readathon or something to engage me a bit more with my reading in August. But then I thought again and realized that, oh, perhaps this is a good opportunity for me to sort of chill a bit and mood read. I've had a few quite set TBRs these last few months, I would say. So I sort of thought that, okay, I'm gonna allow myself the space to sort of pick books I want to read. And perhaps that will also give me some space to do a few more like reading themed videos. I would love to do like perhaps like a randomized vlog or something like that, or perhaps start a new series I've been talking about where I sort of do my monitoring my TBR but like a shelve it or scrap it and boss or toss sort of style. But there's still a few books I want to talk about that I'm hoping to get to in August for various reasons. As always, let's start with the buzzwordathon. The title challenge for buzzwordathon in August is to read a book with either like a group or a club in the title. Either it says like team or society or club, or like the Thursday Murder Club, the Society of blah blah blah. Those sort of things either have those words in it or where the name is like an actual group. I hope I'm making sense. And I tried to look up books that had like club, group, society and such in them. And I don't own any books with that. What I like to attempt to do for the buzzwordathon is to pick books off my physical TBR that works with the prompts. Sometimes I'm going with audiobooks instead, but I really wanted to find something from my own shelves. So I had to look into, okay, what are instead titles that are like talking about a certain group. And I didn't really have that many options there either, but I found one book that I could do, and it's good because it's short, the text is really big, and it's also a recent purchase, fairly recent purchase at least. The book I hope to read is Medusa of the Gorgons. This is so random, I know. The club or group here being the Gorgons. The Gorgons are like three sisters in Greek mythology. So that is sort of the group I'm referring to with this book. This is a Great Women of Greek Mythology book. I picked this up at Athens airport earlier this year, sort of as a souvenir. I just really liked the cover, and there's multiple books in the series, I think it's 10 books, that all each focus on a woman from Greek mythology. And I don't know if this is meant to be like a children's book or something else, but the text is really big. It's been a while since I read a book with this big of a text. So hopefully this is gonna be a quick and easy read. The book is like 140 pages long. It's about Medusa, who turns people into stone just by looking at them. But it's sort of questioning whether she's actually an evil monster or just a victim. She is after all just a mortal girl, albeit the daughter of primordial gods and the sister to the immortal Gorgons. But her short life changes when one fateful day she goes to visit the new temple of Athena. From a sheltered upbringing to conversing with a sly goddess and evil god, Medusa discovers the world is not such a rosy place. And it says it's a short book for young and old, introducing readers to the ancient world. So, random, but hey, it's a group, and it's a recent purchase, and hopefully a quick read. So we're going with Medusa of the Gorgons, because why not? The cover challenge for buzzwordathon in August is to read a book with like damage on the cover, where the cover sort of looks damaged, like ripped pages or something is burning and things like that. And I had a few ideas, but then I remember there's a book I picked up recently that I'm very excited to read for various reasons. It also helps creating a theme for the buzzwordathon books together with the Medusa book. What I will attempt to read in August is the Odyssey. Crazy, right? Crazy. I watched the movie yesterday. Loved it. I thought it was great. There's a bit of a story here actually. I have both the Iliad and the Odyssey on my books to read in 2026, Because I was going to Athens, I wanted to sort of theme that with my reading, and also because of the adaptation that came out. And I have this gorgeous, gorgeous leather-bound book that I have attempted to read previously. I have attempted to read the Iliad before. I've made it like 50 pages into the book or something. I don't remember anything of it. I think I did that twice as well. And then recently, because of the Odyssey movie, I've seen a lot of discussions about translations. And this leather-bound edition is translated by Samuel Butler. And from my understanding, this is sort of like a publicly available translation, the one you can find online and all of that, and it's over 100 years old. It's from the Victoria era, it's more in prose than in poetry form, and I've seen some comments being that perhaps it's not the most available translation or understandable for people who are not that into Victorian era stuff. So I started to think that, oh, perhaps I should get another translation in order to get through these books, because I would really love to read them. I've owned this one for 6 years now, I think, 7 years maybe. So I've had the intention to read it for a while. So I started to do a lot of research about what translation I should pick up. And my intention has always been to read the Iliad first and then get to the Odyssey, because it's chronological order, right? I feel like that makes sense. There's 2 other translations I considered picking up, but I also saw a lot of buzz surrounding Emily Wilson's translations. First the Odyssey, which was published a few years ago actually, and then also the Iliad, which was published more recently. I was a bit like, maybe not, I don't know. I did a whole bunch of research regarding the different translations. I found a website where you could compare paragraphs and how they had been translated from different people. And I started to think that, if I'm actually gonna get through these stories or this epic poem, it's gonna have to be like available for me. I don't do too well with this sort of writing, I know that. So if something is gonna be more straightforward, perhaps that's what I should go with. And on top of that, also supporting a woman translating books. I believe this is the first full English translation by a woman published, but obviously there's been other languages where people have translated the story. And then also, I really enjoyed seeing some of the arguments being like, well, this story, this poem, is like almost 3,000 years old. How do we know what's actually what Homer writes? Especially since stories back then were being told through speaking, or like people were telling stories, they weren't writing them down necessarily. So when people are like, but that's not the correct translation, that's not what Homer intended, la la la, how the F do you know? Have you read it in Greek? And even if you have read it in Greek, how do you know it's the exact same text as what Homer came up with 2,000-3,000 years ago? I'm going with this one. I want to support the women in literature. I feel like this is what's gonna make it so I actually read the book. If I enjoy the book, I might explore other translations in the future and compare that. The aim for me is just to read the Odyssey and the Iliad at some point. So I think this is actually the perfect edition for me. I've heard great praise, especially about the Odyssey by Emily Wilson. As you've probably heard, it's supposed to be the translation that Christopher Nolan based the movie on. My plan was always to go with the Iliad first, but then I just sort of figured that, well, I'm gonna watch the movie anyway. Might as well read a book. While I am sort of up to date about the Odyssey, it might be my best shot at reading this now, and if I enjoy it, I will pick up the Iliad and read it later on. I've seen multiple people online do it in this order, so even though it's chronologically the Iliad and then the Odyssey, I feel like this is fine either way. The way that it works for the damage prompt is like this. This sort of looks like it's been ripped, right? So it could be like a piece of paper that has been ripped. I actually put a lot of thought into this, and I really tried to do a lot of research regarding the translations. I know there's a few other really popular ones, but because this is so talked about right now, I wanted to give it a go. The introduction and translator note for this book is like 100 pages in itself, so I'm sure that Emily Wilson's got a lot of explanations for why she chose to translate it this way, why it's sort of in this like poem structure, all of that, and I'm excited about it. As long as this is something I feel I can keep up with and understand, I'm gonna be happy, I think. We're going for a bit of a Greek theme, with Buzzwordathon in August. That's gonna be fun. One is one is super long and complicated, one is quite short and very easily read, I'm guessing. So that's gonna be fun. I realize now that I didn't tell you what the Odyssey even is about, but it's a poem about violence and the aftermath of war, about wealth and poverty and power, about marriage and family. It's basically the aftermath of the Trojan War with the horse, and we have Odysseus who is trying to get back home to Ithaca after the war, and the journey takes super long and he goes on all of these random side quests, and it's about this man struggling to get home after war, basically. And then, what do I want to read in August? I don't have any other things to guide my reading. So I'm gonna pick up a few books I've been wanting to read. The main one being Dungeon Crawler Carl. I picked this up last month and I'm super excited to get to it finally. So I think I'm just gonna have a good time and read this one. This has been everywhere for the last 2 years. So this is a sci-fi sort of game-inspired story. It's about the apocalypse being televised. Join Coast Guard Wet Carl and his ex-girlfriend's cat, Princess Donut, as they try to survive the end of the world, or just get to the next level, in the video game-like trap-filled fantasy dungeon. A dungeon that's actually the set of a reality television show with countless viewers across the galaxy. Exploding goblins, magical potions, deadly drug-dealing llamas. This ain't your ordinary game show. My guess is that it's some sort of survival, reality TV / RPG sort of thing going on in a sci-fi world. And that it's gonna be a lot of humor. And just like random humor almost. I've heard great things about the series. I know some people really freaking love it. So I think, yeah, I'm just excited to read it and get my own opinion and see if it's something for me. Speaking of books I purchased recently and just really want to get to, Strange Pictures. I picked this up in the same haul where I picked up Dungeon Crawler Carl. And this is a Japanese mystery book. It's a series now, it's everywhere as well. It looks like it's got a really interesting format, which is something I'm really weak for nowadays and really enjoy. From my understanding, this is just some sort of mystery where we have a bunch of strange pictures, just as the book says. There's a bunch of pictures throughout this book, and together they will reveal something. And here inside the cover it actually asks, can you find the clues in these strange pictures and uncover the sinister truth that connects them all? And I'm thinking, if you don't know, I recently made a video in a new series I'm trying out that I'm calling the Bookcase Files. I filmed a video for the book Can You Solve the Murder by Anthony Johnston and sort of made it into a video where I actually try to solve the murder. And I'm thinking about doing a similar thing with Strange Pictures. And I'm gonna make an attempt on camera to see if I can figure out what's going on before the book reveals it, basically. And I'm hoping it's gonna be possible to do with this book. It's always hard to know with certain books if the reader will have all of the information or not. But because they are sort of prompting it inside the cover, asking the reader if they will be able to solve it, I'm gonna go with perhaps it's possible to do. From my understanding, it's sort of horror-esque. I really don't know the story at all, other than the fact that we have these random strange pictures and they sort of add up to something. And I think it's gonna be fun to dive into this and try to solve it myself. I'm really in my mystery era right now. Like, I was just away on holiday and I read so much mystery and I've been doing Myrtles and I did that Can You Solve the Murder book and all of that. And I'm just on this mystery grind right now and I want to keep it up. So, Strange Pictures in August. It's gonna be awesome. And then I think the final book I'm gonna put on this TBR, which is quite hefty, because I have the Odyssey and Dungeon Crawler Carl on it, which aren't short books, and then I have two shorter-esque books. But one final book that I do hope to get to at some point, and I had borrowed this one from a friend, so hopefully it will motivate me to read it even more. And I have a reason for why I want to pick this up. What I hope I can read in August is Dune by Frank Herbert. I've never had any interest in Dune. Not in the movies, not in the books. I watched the first movie on an airplane and fell asleep for most of it. Not a good airplane movie, it's way too dark. I've seen the first movie, but I didn't care enough to remember it. And because I didn't enjoy the movie, I've never really been interested in reading the book, and from my understanding, I think the book or the series can be a bit tedious with just a lot of pages about sand and spice. So why am I picking this up? Well, the third movie is coming out in November, December, later this year, and my man Robert Pattinson is in it. And I love that man with my whole heart, and I want to watch everything he's done. So I could just watch the movies and then watch Dune 3. But being a reader, I do think that, perhaps I should just read the first 2 books then. So this is the first book. In order to get to the third movie, I think I need to read the sequel as well, just to be up to date with the story. I want to read this because of Robert Pattinson. That's my reasoning. And also, my friend who borrowed it to me, he's super obsessed with the books right now. Like, that's all he wants to talk about. So I think that if I read this, he will really appreciate it as well. What is this about? I don't know, it's an epic fantasy sci-fi from back in the day. Spice is the most valuable and rarest element in the universe, and it can only be found on a single planet, the inhospitable desert world Arrakis. Whoever controls Arrakis controls the spice, and whoever controls the spice controls the universe. When stewardship of Arrakis is transferred to his house, Paul Atreides must travel to the planet's dangerous surface to ensure the future of his family and his people. But as malevolent forces explode into conflict around him, Paul is thrust into a great destiny beyond his understanding. And in this game of power, only those who can conquer their fear will survive. If I can read this and a sequel before the movie, I'm gonna be happy. Perhaps not the smartest of me to get into a new fantasy series when I still have so many ongoing ones, but at the same time, I'm doing this for our pets. I would do anything for that man. So suddenly, from being quite a chill, I can read whatever I want sort of month, by just putting these 5 books together, we have quite a hefty amount of pages. It's like 600 pages, 500 pages, 500 pages, yeah. So yeah, here's where we're at. But honestly, summers are for reading fantasy, in my opinion, and all of these are sort of fantastical. I guess this is a bit more thriller horror, but the rest of them are definitely sci-fi fantasy, right? And for me, that's summer. Summer is when you get through those chunky, long fantasies that you never get to otherwise. And all of these are books I picked up this year, except for the one I'm borrowing from a friend, and I think that's really cool as well. So yeah, and then we'll see. Depending on how things go, that's my August TBR. Please let me know what you think of it, if you read any of the books, which one you think I will enjoy and won't enjoy. And also feel free to share your August TBR. I would love to get some inspiration. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please take care and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye!